What's up, everybody? Jeremy Ritz,
Edmund Fontana,
and we are back. Episode number 31 of the Courage Pays Better Than Fear 2.0 podcast.
Absolutely.
2.0.
Yeah, we've been off the grid for a little while, and most of that has to do with me. I had a lot of things going on in my life, a lot of life changes. But I am grateful. I'm grateful for, Jeremy's friendship. I'm grateful for this podcast. I am really grateful for the annual getaway that Jeremy and I do once a year. And this is where we kind of sit back, revisit, talk about like where the year has taken us, right? How did we grow? What are things we're going to do better? And we are going to share all that with you. We're going to share some of that with you today on episode 31.
Yeah, because we have to catch you up. We've been gone for quite some time.
Absolutely.
A lot has changed since the last time that we talked to you. Yeah, and like Edmund said, that was about 9 months ago. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about our retreat to Deep Creek. And really, we want to talk to you about our recommitment to courage and what our purpose is going to be and what we see this being for all of you out there. Because really, as former teachers, principals, we were helping people constantly. And so we are still doing that through our coaching for trading, real estate. But now it's time to take that to another level. And that's really what we're trying to do here, Courage 2.0.
Absolutely. We're here to provide free content to just help, right? To inform people, let people know, what's going on in our lives, because we know like a lot of the struggles that we have on a daily basis, you guys are having too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going through a struggle and I can, figure out how to get out of that or how to get the right mindset. And, if there's a book that I'm reading or a podcast that I'm reading, we want to be able to come and share that information so others can get back on track as well.
Yep. So let's kick it off, man. What the hell have you been up to,
bro? Because it's been a struggle. I'm just gonna put it out there. Like I said, like we want to be authentic. We want to be vulnerable. About 9 months ago, my wife and I decided to separate. We did end up getting a divorce, and it hurt. It absolutely sucked. Right. Just kind of grew apart. Things happen. I made a lot of mistakes on my end that I'll share with you guys and talk about. So men, you're not out there making them same mistakes too. Just different personalities, all that wasn't her fault, wasn't necessarily mine. It's just the universe was going to do what the universe was going to do. And once I really accepted that, it really helped me take a deep dive. Like, look, it is what it is. I'm going to be okay. Does this suck? Absolutely. But I used it as a time to grow, right? To take a real deep look into myself and, the mistakes that I was making and my ego. Man, my ego, I didn't even realize how bad my ego was. You got bad ego too. I didn't want to hear it.
Yours is a little out of control. I'm not going to lie.
But yeah, like these are things that we're going to talk about. And I just had to take a deep dive and get myself to the point to where now my wife or my ex-wife, sorry, we have an amazing relationship, right? We have a great friendship. And I really had to take the time to define what that was going to look like, because in my childhood, my parents got divorced. It was not great, right? It was a battle. They hated each other for the longest time. And I remember the impact that had on me and my children. And, even though every cell in my body was just kind of saying, that's the road you're going to go down, that was all ego. And then I had to step back and say, none of that is right. Right. I need to be the change agent, and I need to lead how this divorce is going to go. And man, I'm proud of myself. I'll be honest. Right. Like I was able to maintain a great friendship with my ex-wife. She's an amazing mother. The kids love her. I know the kids love me, and they are truly benefiting from us doing this the right way.
Yeah. And I'm proud of you too. And that's not an easy decision to go through something like that.
It isn't.
To decide to end a relationship that lasted for quite some time.
And 15 years. We were together for 15 years, married for 9.
Yeah.
Actually we made it to the 10-year mark. And then, the paperwork essentially started rolling in, but we handled it very well, man. Like we didn't really use the court systems. We sat down and talked to one another about what was fair and what we were going to do for each other. and how we were going to get along so we were not arguing in front of the kids or any of that. And we really just had to forgive one another.
Yeah.
And forgiveness was key in that whole thing because
Yeah.
none of this was her fault.
Right.
None of this was really my fault. We just two different people on two different paths, and sometimes that happens, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And we're here to talk about these sort of things.
So, in terms of talking about it and the fact that it's okay, I mean, what advice can you give to people out there, not just the men,
Hmm.
but women who are or maybe in a relationship to where they know things aren't right and maybe they don't want, because I know that we had talked and just being candid
Yeah,
and tell me to stop,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like struggling with that inner question of like, is this relationship right for
Right for
me?
me.
And
Yeah.
being willing to admit it. But what advice do you have for people who may be in that similar situation?
Do do a lot of self-reflecting, right? You're a mirror essentially for what your partner is feeling, right? So if my partner's angry or if my partner's frustrated, upset, or down and out, there's probably something I'm doing on my end, right? Because my partner is a mirror of what I'm putting out in terms of energy. And vice versa, right? So really do some self-reflecting. And man, give it your absolute best, right? I know I can go down and say, like, I fought my ass off to keep this relationship
Mhm.
going. Even new parts of me knew like it was probably over, but I had to know at the end of the day that I gave it my absolute best. So give it your best, especially if kids are involved, right?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, it just wasn't designed to work out, right? Like the universe is going to do its thing. And when you accept that and you surrender to that, like the more freeing it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just put a book, I just put a book, what was it? Let It Go on our Facebook page. And I've been reading that book for several weeks now at this point, and it's a game changer. And it really just talks about what I spoke to earlier, just like surrendering and just like let the universe do its thing, but always try your best so you can sleep at the end of the night.
Yeah. And I think something else to add to that, and not to like, put me on a pedestal, but because I wasn't the only person, but having someone to talk to
Absolutely.
going through that
Yeah.
situation, because you can't just internalize and
Mm-mm.
bottle that all up, right? Having that person to just be able
Yeah.
to share,
I mean,
right?
guys, I mean, I went to counseling, like she and I went to counseling together. I went individually. She went individually. Lucky I'm blessed enough to where I was able to even hire like a private life coach counselor. And, she's been great and she's been able to help me kind of navigate this journey. And you got to ask for help, right?
Hmm.
You can't keep all this inside and expect everything
Right.
to change. It's not going to.
And the fucked up thing, yes, I just said fuck,
Yeah,
is that,
that's going to change too.
yeah,
This is going to be real. If you guys are upset with cussing, we apologize.
maybe
But
there's a better,
the may
site for you to go to.
yeah, but we're
But
just going to keep it real.
some people might be watching this and think like, oh, talking to a counselor or having a life coach or getting help is like a sign of weakness. Like, oh,
Yeah,
that's so stupid.
yeah,
Or that's bullshit. I
it
mean,
is.
if you really want to live at your optimal levels and succeed and thrive and understand yourself,
Yeah,
you have to be willing to ask for help. So, I mean, that's a sign of strength,
yeah,
not
yeah.
weakness.
And like there's a lot of men out there, just because of the way like the society has raised most men, especially if you're coming up in like my generation, and yeah, I'm 44, I'm putting it out there. Um,
Damn, you're old,
I
bro.
know, whatever. You're 43, you're right behind me. But there's a lot of that toxic masculinity that comes into play. Not everything's toxic masculinity, that label can be used a little bit too much sometimes, but there's this toxic, idea of what a man is supposed to be, right? What a
Yeah,
man is supposed to look like. Man's not supposed to share his feelings. A man's supposed to suppress everything. Like Jeremy said, all that's bullshit, right?
yeah,
There's a shift happening in on this planet, right, as we speak. And the shift is to be more open, right? To ask for help. There's, to use one another as resources, right? And just love on one another, right? The hate and all that shit has got to go. I don't need
yeah.
you loving on me there. Not like that, bro. But seriously, right? Just share share your knowledge, right? If you have knowledge out there that's able to help somebody, put it out there, right? Like me,
Your story
yeah,
too.
your story, like the universe, or like I'm sorry, not the universe, but the internet. I mean, it's freaking awesome. You can reach hundreds of thousands of people, if not more, just by using the internet and sharing your story,
Yeah.
right? And putting an audience together and do it,
Yeah.
right? Just get out there and do it.
Get out there and
Now's
do it.
the time.
Yeah. And so part of the reason why we're recording this podcast, and we put together a welcome video on the Facebook page, but just to, we've spent a lot of time talking, and one thing that we do every year that we've done since I quit my job
Mhm.
is we have our yearly retreat. And last year was kind of
We
wasn't real.
we screwed
We
off.
just got
Yeah.
drunk.
I
Oh,
thought
you
we
can be
did.
honest. We just got we
We
got
drank, and it was like
it
you
was
wake up the
stupid.
next day, you feel like shit, and you're like, we completely
Yeah.
wasted this whole time, and
But
we didn't do that this time.
no, this year we went back to, and that's kind of my thing where I've been is I kind of started taking for granted, the beauty of what my situation is
Yeah,
after leaving behind the W-2 world, my job as a principal, and just kind of getting complacent, like, oh, whatever, I'm doing well now. But that opportunity at Deep Creek, we really put in the work
yeah,
to reflect on, all right, we did this exercise, and we'll eventually share this in the group.
because these are all exercises
Yeah.
you guys could
Yeah.
do.
And it's where you reflect on and evaluate different areas of your life in terms of your emotionally,
Relationships,
relationships,
finances.
physical,
Hmm.
all those things. And it's where are you at this point? And we were able to compare where we were this year to where we were 3 years ago. And
Yep.
we had some really stark findings.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that came out of it that we're missing is that contribution. And that's why
We're
we're here
back.
today.
Yeah, that's why we're back. Because we sat down, we evaluated like where we were 2 years ago, where we're at today, where we want to be 5 years from now. And although things like shifted in the right direction for most of us,
Hmm.
um, although things shifted in the right direction, there we kept coming back to the one key piece is to help, right? To inform, to share what's going on in our life so other people can benefit. And that is the piece that he and I really miss as teachers and being administrators, is just the informing piece, right? Helping others, being there for people. And that's why this is free. That's why, we are dedicating once a week to putting out a podcast to just kind of share what's going on in our week. You could really follow us day by day on the Facebook group, and we're just here to give back. And
Yeah.
that's really all this is. I hope you guys continue to follow us. Um, More importantly, like we want to know what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
You don't need to put it out there on the comments or whatever. You don't want to message us
Yeah.
and be like, hey, I got this going on in my life. Would love to chat. Like we have to give back. It's in our human design to give back. Like we
Yeah.
have to,
Yeah.
or we're not operating at our optimal selves,
Nope.
right? And it took 9 months of me doing deep, deep diving research on myself
Yeah.
in order to be able to be here today to give back to the people now in this community.
And it feels good to be back.
It
This
does.
is just like
It
riding a
does.
bike, man.
It
It's
does.
like,
And and we talked about that, and we said, I wonder what it's going to be like getting back, on camera and reintroducing ourselves to, our community. And I love it, right?
yeah.
This is almost like therapy for me, right? Like
Yeah.
I can get it all out. I'm helping people, hopefully. Um, and I can't wait to continue to see what, the rest of these episodes bring. And here's the other thing. There are going to be people on here like, yo, you guys are clowns, right? Like we already are accepting the haters.
Yeah.
It's all good. Haters are going to hate, right? Like feel free. I don't care. He don't care. It's
don't
all good. If you want to find another channel, go find, go, what do they call that shit when somebody's on there creeping on Facebook all the time? Trolling. Go troll
Yeah.
somebody else's ass, right? It is what it is.
Yeah. And we don't care if we have 2 viewers. We
Yeah.
don't care.
Whatever.
This is fun. We want to put some positivity, some energy out there into the world. And who knows, maybe really the ultimate goal, that one of our stories, something that we share, an idea that we put out there, if that could just influence your life for the better in a positive way, then mission complete. Because that's what we're trying to do.
And that's really what Courage Pays Better Than Fear is all about.
Yep. And so anything as we wrap up episode 31 after, being on the bench, anything we want to,
just if you have to take time to yourself, it's okay, right? If you are going through something in life and you need to fall off for a little while to find yourself, right? Find yourself. Do what you need to do. Use the resources, use the people that are around you, and get back on track. Get the fuck back up and get your asses after it every day, right?
Day.
And
what's I got a message on this Courage shirt. What does that say?
All your excuses are lies.
That's right. All your excuses. And so the bullshit that we'd say, oh, we got an episode coming next week, and we wouldn't follow through on that. Well, we are going to hold each other accountable. You call us out in the comments. We will be back here next week. But make sure you sign up for that Facebook group and really post in there. We want to talk with you. We'll respond to anything you put in there. We're looking forward to it. I think that's going to do it, man.
Yeah, and also subscribe, and we're going to continue to drop our YouTube videos in here. Subscribe, smash the subscribe button, right?
Yes.
And then also the email list. We're going to be, sending things out via email, just stuff to inspire. Go ahead, check that group out. It'll be pinned in the features section at the top of the Facebook group.
Yep. And that's going to do it. Episode number 31 of the Courage Pays Better Than Fear 2.0 podcast. I'm Jeremy Ritz.
I'm Edmund Fontana. We are back.
And Courage
Pays Better Than Fear.
Take care, everyone.
God bless.